नारायण भगवान की जय। अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज की जय। राधा कृष्ण देव की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज की जय। प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज शताब्दी महोत्सव की जय। With prostrations at the divine feet of Bhagwan Swami Narayan and my Guru Hari, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, my heartiest namaskar and good evening, especially to the District Governor, Mr. Raheja, the President, Mr. Nair, my very good friend, Regional Chair for the Four-Way Test, Hemant Shah, one of the prides of the nation, Air Vice Marshal, and Rotarians, distinguished guests. This is a pledge for all the Rotarians, the four-way test. Any thought that passes through your mind has to be checked by this. Any word that you speak has to be checked by this. And any deed that you perform has to be checked by this. The first check is it the truth? The second check is it fair to all concerned? The third check is, will it build goodwill and better relationships, better friendships? And the fourth is, will it be beneficial to all? Is it right? So this is the four-way test that every Rotarian has to go through. I suggest that every Indian, every human upon this earth should pass through these four tests before thinking, talking, or acting throughout his 8-year life. Because this is an ethical truth. This is a reality. And it is a reality in all walks of life, in all fields of profession. Many thinkers have given a thought to this. In some or the other way, many thinkers have written about this, talked about this, and made them principles of their life. How many of you have read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey? Just raise your hands. 2 or 3 of you yet to read. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen Covey, he was a Harvard alumni, a professor there for many years, as was Shri Raheja talking a few minutes back about how the history of this four-way test, how it came into existence, how it was well accepted in the society and gradually by RI Council. In the same way, many people used to approach him for their personal issues, for their family issues, for their professional issues. He used to definitely guide them, counsel them. But then he decided to write upon a book which could be a Bible, which could sort of a guide for all kinds of issues from personal to professional life. He left the job at Harvard, went to the nearby islands, stayed there for a few months to just cool himself down, started thinking, penning down, and wrote this whole book after about 1.5 years staying there at the Hawaii Islands of California. This 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, in the other way, is the four-way test. I'll tell you how. Of the 7 habits of these highly effective people, that those personalities who are very highly effective, that you once meet them, you don't forget them. You once have a conversation with them, you don't forget them. And wherever they are, they create a mark. Such people who are highly successful in all walks of life, those people had these 7 habits common in them. The first habit was proactivity. That is giving a positive response even in the worst or a negative situation. That is called proactivity. Second was begin with the end in mind. Anything that you begin, you must have the end in mind. That is, are fruitful, good, and beneficial results to the society be the outcome of this process? That is the last point included. Will it be beneficial to all? So begin with the end in mind. The third was putting first things first. That is not just priority, but putting truth first. That is putting first things first. Third habit. Fourth habit was very important, and it is the closest to the four-way habit, the four-way test. The fourth habit of this highly effective people was think win-win. The second and the fourth point of the four-way test included. Is it fair to all concerned, and will it be beneficial to all concerned? That means if you think win-win, I also win, you also win, and let us all win together. So the second and the fourth point of the four-way test included. It's fair to all and it's beneficial to all. That was the fourth habit. The fifth habit, seek first to understand and then to be understood. Sixth habit was synergy, that when all people concerned, they come together for a common cause, on a common platform, putting aside their differences and disputes. And when they work together, they attain success and joy, and the result. That joy and result combined together produces another energy for the next product, and that is called synergy. At the end of the project, a good success. And when you work together, a good joy. That success and joy combined together, it creates an energy. It creates an enthusiasm. That is called synergy. And it only comes when it is fair and beneficial to all concerned. And it is the truth. It only comes, this particular sixth habit written by Stephen Covey typically matches with the third of the four-way test. It creates goodwill and better friendships. Because synergy, people come together, leaving aside their differences, coming on common platforms, putting their disputes aside, working together for the success of the project. That means it is creating goodwill. It is creating better friendships. And the last habit Stephen Covey puts is sharpen the saw. Physical, mental, emotional saw. Saw means when you cut a wood, you have a saw to cut the wood. You must sharpen it. That means physically, mentally, emotionally, you should be strong enough to do your work. So in some or the other way, people have given a thought to this, because this is the basic ethical thinking of life and work. In our organization in BAPS, we have similarly the same kind of principles taught by our gurus. This was four-way test accepted in 1942-43. Which year? 42-43. 1 year prior to that, in 1941, Pramukh Swami Maharaj's Guru Yogiji Maharaj has written a small book, that is Yogi Gita, which includes this four-way test. One fine sentence that he has written in his traditional Gujarati, Satya, Hitkar and Priya Vachan Bolu. That means we always talk and walk, which is truth. Satya. Hitkar means which is beneficial to all. And Priya, where everybody loves and comes together. Goodwill and friendships. So in 1941, our Guru wrote, in 1943 you accepted, so you are well blessed by him. Yes, that is well accepted. Your Rotary founder would have been a disciple of Yogiji Maharaj. So that was in 1941. But this is just a coincidence that I am talking of. What I want to say is, all good organizations like Rotary, like VBAPS, or any other good organization who is working for the larger good of the society, they have this common ethical beliefs and practices. Only then they exist. Only then they can work. Our Guru Pramukh Swami Maharaj has given the same tone to this four-way test. He says, in the good of others lies our own. In the progress of others rests our own. And in the happiness of others lies our happiness. This is four-way test. As simple as that. In the progress of others lies our own progress. That means goodwill and better friendships. And beneficial to all. He says, in the happiness of others lies our own. This is eternal truth. So in some or the other way, those organizations who work at national or international level, they have this ethical beliefs and practices in common, and only because of that they exist and they can work. As Rotary International is a huge organization, BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha is also a huge organization that I come from. We are one of the largest NGOs of the world, among the top 10. With a permanent sit in the United Nations as an NGO. Our representative sits in the United Nations every Wednesday in New York. As was introduced, more than 1,300 such small or big campuses in more than 150 schools, hostels, colleges. The Swaminarayan School in London is among the top 5 schools in England. So we do about 162 different kinds of social, cultural, moral, educational, environmental activities. You can see that on our website, baps.org. So anyone who wants to work on such a large scale need to have these real truths of life in belief and in practice. Otherwise, they cease to exist. As was told in the introduction of this 4-way test by Sri Raheja, that sometimes some people found it difficult to apply those things in their practical lives and especially business lives. But then without this, you stand nowhere. Without this, you don't progress.
Current circumstances, current age, current circumstances.
Current circumstances and current scenario, it's difficult that you can progress without this. Because in the initial stage, if you keep this 4-way test in your business, I'm particularly focusing on it because he said that people find it difficult in business to match this all 4. Initial stage, you would find it's difficult to get business if you stick to this 4-way test. Yes or no?
Yes.
All 4?
I am not a businessman.
You are not a businessman. You are from the services. All 3 sitting by my side. So if sitting on the dais, the 3 say yes, it is yes for everybody. Difficult for the 4-way test to be implied practically in business life. Initial stage you would find it difficult. But a day comes when only quality rules. A day comes when only ethics work. Nothing beyond that. Initial days you will find it difficult, but once your clients and customers, they come to know that here is a person and here is a place who are eternally wedded to truth, they'll start coming to you. Because keeping aside this 4-way test, this basic principles of truth, if you do your business, in the initial stages perhaps you may attract people, you can cheat a person once, twice, not thrice or all the times. It's difficult. Because all the people upon this planet are now quality conscious, truth conscious, because this is the age of information. So this 4-way test, practically applied in one's own life, has its own repercussions in the way that it creates your image. It creates your personality. And it sets an example in the society for the future generations to come. Why do we read biographies and autobiographies of great personalities and not just celebrities? Inspiration, because all these 4-way tests in their lives. Do you revere Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam because he was handsome? Do you revere Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam because he was a celebrity? Do you revere Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam because he was the President of India? Check out your opinions, okay? Do you revere Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam because he was a great scientist, the missile man of India? Or do you revere Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam because he was a great human being, lived a life showing the path to millions? Tell me. First, second, third, fourth, or fifth? Fifth. Fifth, then raise your hands. That is, he passed the 4-way test with 100% in his life. Just 2 years of patience. Keep four-way test in your business. Have 2 years of patience. And the third year is yours. The rest of the life is yours. So never get that fear in your heart. Difficult to apply this in business. You can always apply and grow. You can always apply and create. You can always apply and profit. As simple as that. And those people who have come out of this four-way test with wonderful flying colors in their lives are those extraordinary people whom for generations people have kept them in their hearts. How many of you saw the 1987 World Cup? Because Raija is more interested in cricket, I must give an example of cricket. He was introduced by a gentleman, a Rotarian. You said that he's interested in cricket, isn't it? He is. So let me talk of cricket.
Who's not interested?
Everybody is interested, but in a particular introduction it was. So, 1987 World Cup quarterfinals between West Indies and Pakistan at the Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore. I particularly remember because I bunked my exam to watch that match. And for the first time, perhaps West Indies was getting eliminated from the World Cup at an earlier stage. 75 they won, 79 they won, 83 they were the finalists, and 87 they were almost losing the match in the quarterfinals, and Pakistan was going all bang. And the star batsman Javed Miandad, you might have seen him batting. He was batting. He lifted a bowler through the covers. It was an uppish ball, and Courtney Walsh, remember his name? Walsh, he was a great bowler. He picked him up in the covers. The umpire raised his finger. Javed Miandad started walking back, and again there was a possibility of the match tilting towards the West Indies. Because Miandad used to come 3 down, but then on the other side it was the 8th batsman batting. So it was the 9th one coming in. So again the match, a bit it tilted towards the West Indies side. Javed Miandad started walking off the crease. Courtney Walsh ran to the umpire, showed his hand to the umpire, the backside of his hand, and said, "This part touched the ground when I caught the ball. So call Miandad back." Miandad was called back, and when Miandad is given a second chance, a great batsman, the opposition has to give the match away. And the commentator definitely said at that time that this wedding of truth, which Courtney Walsh was well known for since the starting days of his cricketing career, would cost West Indies the World Cup. And it did cost West Indies the World Cup. Years later, when Courtney Walsh was playing his final test, when he bowled his final over at the international arena, and when he was walking back, his 11 other 10 teammates definitely asked him to lead. Standing ovation in the pavilion, that normally happens with every cricketer. But now, Australia Channel 9 commentator Richie Benaud, you know his name. Richie Benaud said one sentence for Courtney Walsh, and today it is at the Jamaican Stadium entrance wall, carved out for Courtney Walsh. Richie Benaud said, "Here comes back the last of the gentlemen cricketers. Passed the four-way test. Telling the umpire that I have caught the ball, but my hand has touched the ground." Was it the truth? Was it the truth? Was it fair to all concerned? Yes. Paresh, my friend, says no. It was at least not to the 10 West Indians on the ground. This is how we all have played cricket, so we have played in the streets and not in the grounds. Anyway, did it create goodwill and better friendships? It created a goodwill 20 years hence today in the seminar. In our hearts. We are talking about it and getting inspired. That there can be and there is genuinity at this level also. And was it beneficial to all concerned? It was. He passed the four-way test. Normally, I tell you, this four-way test is such that if you pass the first test, the other three are bonus pass. If it is the truth, in only one exceptional condition, even if it is the truth, you don't have to go for it. I'll talk of it later. But in 99.9% of the situations, if you pass the first test, the other three are bonus. As you pass mathematics and science subjects and you get admitted in engineering college, who counts for English and mathematics and, Gujarati and Hindi or Tamil? Not for your engineering admission or medicine admission. So the four-way test, people, let us first talk in this first phase of great personalities who have successfully passed the four-way test in their lives. Maybe initial stage there was a loss, as I said earlier. Initial stage, you would find it as a loss or a setback or a failure. But in the longer run, it is always beneficial to you, the society, and it will be a source of inspiration for millions and millions of people ages later. Is Courtney Walsh an inspiration to the modern day cricketers? Yes or no? Yes. It is. In a small neighborhood in New York, I'm telling you a very fine story of a small boy. He was about 8 years old. He had to work for 2 to 3 hours after his school to make the ends meet in his family. He would be there at a retail counter of a grocery shop. He would get 1 cent for working for 5 days. I'm talking of things 70, 80 years back. Much, perhaps more than that. So one fine evening, he did not return back on time. And his mother, she got anxious. She started searching for the little boy around, but she could not find her. And what had happened at that place was that when the shopkeeper, the owner of the shop, had come back, as always, in the evening to see the accounts of the day's happenings, especially in the evening, he found that there were 3 cents more. And he said to the little boy, "Good, we have 3 cents more." And the boy was surprised. 3 cents more than the amount that we should have after selling the products from the shop. And the shopkeeper said, "It's okay. If there were 3 cents less, then you and me would have tensed. 3 cents more, it's fine, it's okay. Go back home, have your dinner, and enjoy, and go to sleep." Little boy said, "No. If we can't afford to have 3 cents less in the account, we can't afford to have 3 cents more." First test. Is it the truth? And the boy said, and the shopkeeper said, "What would you do?" He said, "I'll go around the whole town. I'll write down the names of all the customers who came to me. I'll just approach them, talk to them, what they bought from me, what was the exchange, and I'll try to figure it out, who gave me 3 cents more." He went around the neighborhood to like about 15 to 17 customers. On the other part, his mother, she was very anxious why this little boy didn't come home. It was 10:30 p.m. And for about 1 to 1.5 hours of search in the town, he could come to the person who had given him 3 cents more after discussing the exchange and the selling and the getting. He gave him 3 cents back. And then the boy happily came back home, and his mother, when she saw him, "Where were you?" This, that. And he said, "This is what happened." And his mother, she was very happy. She hugged the little boy and said, "Yes, remain wedded to truth." That boy, he remained wedded to truth. He would ask the first question to any thought, any word, or any deed that he performed throughout his life. The first question, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it create goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? I'm talking of that little boy who grew up and was none other than the most famous president US ever had, that is Abraham Lincoln. He never deviated from these principles, these basic ethics of life. So, today every president of the United States, before he sits in the White House, in the Oval Office, the president's office is called the Oval Office in White House. he seeks blessings of Abraham Lincoln from his picture. Even you see Barack Obama's pictures in the White House, a portrait of Abraham Lincoln always is there on his back, top. Because they wedded to truth. This four-way test they had in their life. When Abraham Lincoln became the president, he was finalizing the list of his cabinet ministers. And he gave Homeland Security. In America they call Homeland Security, here we call the Defense Minister. The Homeland Security to one Mr. Edwin Stanton. And the personal assistant and secretary of Abraham Lincoln since 20 years, he said, sir, if you don't mind, I have a small suggestion. This Edwin Stanton, you know, basically, he opposes every word and thought of yours. You know that? Lincoln said, yes. Second, he said, sir, do you know he calls you a clown in public? Abraham Lincoln said, yes, I know. Third, he said, sir, do you know that he is your biggest baiter? And he bites your back? Abraham Lincoln said, yes, I know. Even then you are giving him a plum post in the cabinet. You are making him the Homeland Security. Sir, you must rethink. Abraham Lincoln asked him back 4 questions. That was four-way test. Abraham Lincoln asked him the first question to his secretary. Is Edwin Stanton right for the job? What he has for me? He opposes my thoughts. He dislikes me. He calls me a clown in public. He's my backbiter. Forget all those things first. Is the person potentially powerful for this post? And his secretary said yes. Potential-wise, he is powerful for this post. That means, first, is it the truth? Is he right for the job? Fine, tick 1. Second question asked, is his integrity towards nation questionable? And his secretary said no. Sir, in Edwin Stanton's 35 years of public life, his integrity was never in question. Then he passed the second test, that he was fair to all. Third question Abraham Lincoln asked, is Edwin Stanton loved by people? Has he created good relationships among both the Democrats and the Republicans? Will he be able to handle the Congress and the Senate both? The Americans, they have in the political system the Congress and the Senate, as we have the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Has he created good relationships across party lines? And his secretary said yes, he has created. That means he has built goodwill and better friendships. Fourth question Abraham Lincoln asked to his secretary, will the thinking of Edwin Stanton create better foreign policies for US? Will it be beneficial to US from the arms point of view and from the security point of view? Though he differs from me, Abraham Lincoln says this, I know he differs from me. Now he was the president. And he says, I know he differs from me. But his policies, his thinking, will it be beneficial to the country? He said, yes. Top class editorial writers, they have always written good for Edwin Stanton's thinking and policies when it comes to foreign policies. That means it's beneficial to the nation. Abraham Lincoln said, simple. I want these 4 qualities in a person to make him the minister in the Homeland Security. So people always think of this 4-way test when they want success in life, when they want to scale heights, and when they want actual results on the ground. So in one or the other way, people have lived by it. So this is a universal truth. It is a fact of life. So never ever fear that this could perhaps damage you a bit somewhere. It is always beneficial. Because a person who weds truth, truth will always lift him above a normal human being. It has the power. You should have that faith. Gandhiji remained wedded to, right or wrong?
In fact, we were wondering why you didn't start with that. He was the leader. He is
Let me incorporate him in the way that I wanted the path to go. Gandhiji, who gave us freedom, he was wedded to truth and non-violence. Simple. Again I repeat, passing the first test is 98%, rest 3 is 2%.
Future generations will refuse to believe that a man such as this walked the face of the earth.
That was said by Einstein for Gandhi.
Yes.
Great scientist Albert Einstein, he said for Mahatma Gandhi that generations to come would scarcely believe that a man like Gandhi ever in flesh and blood walked upon this earth. And there is not a single city, a town in the entire country where you don't have an MG road. Do we have here? Or a statue of bust of Mahatma Gandhi? Oh, that's what I'm saying. Either an MG road, Mahatma Gandhi road, or a bus somewhere on the crossroads. Gandhipuram, you'll have it. Even Gandhi Bhavan, something like that. Gandhi Park. Yes, you'll have it. You'll have it. Even in England, the Britishers, they have put his bust. And you might have seen in the newspapers 2.5 years back, the president and the superstar Amitabh Bachchan, and they all went to England for the inauguration of that bust. Not the bust, the full-size statue of Mahatma Gandhi, right near the Parliament House. So every British parliamentarian sees him and says, he was the man who kicked us out. Truth wins. Truth has the power. If you abide by these 4 tests, relationships are yours, profits in work are yours, and images of a great human being are yours. As simple as that. Our Guru Pramukh Swami Maharaj, he has always abided by these principles that he has lived. In the good of others lies our own, in the progress of others lies our own, in the happiness of others lies our own. That is this 4-way test in the other words. He has always worked selflessly for the society. Let me simplify this 4-way test for you. Because it's difficult to check out every time on all these 4 tests for each and every thought. So I will simplify this 4-way test for you. First, anything happening in the spirit of human living is a natural pass for the 4-way test. Anything that you do in the spirit of great human living, any act, putting this bottle from year to year to help Hemant have a drink, is 4-way test passed. Second, any act of selfless service where I and me doesn't come, that act passes 4-way test. Third, profound devotion to God passes the 4-way test. As simple as that. All these 3 has the natural power to pass the 4-way test. They don't have to stop, see, look back and introspect. Again, 3 things that you do anytime. If it is in the spirit of human excellence, human living, or upgrading human life. Second, if it's a selfless service for the society or the individual. And third is profound devotion to God. It has passed the 4-way test. You don't need to check it. In 1985, when Pramukh Swami Maharaj was in London, Professor Raymond Williams from Massachusetts College in Boston, he was the head of the Department of Religion there. He has written a thesis, a book on the organization and especially the life and works of Pramukh Swami Maharaj. The title of the book is The New Face of Hinduism, the Swaminarayan Sect, in which he interviewed Pramukh Swami Maharaj. After the interview, he has written 1 line for Pramukh Swami Maharaj. His entire work, because he himself is a one-man institution, Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He has written, Pramukh Swami Maharaj has provided the oxygen of character to the morally suffocated society. In 1 line, he has described Pramukh Swami's entire work. I repeat, he has provided the oxygen of character to the morally suffocated society. All his 162 activities are selfless. Because Pramukh Swami Maharaj does not possess a bank account. We saints, we don't have a bank account. I'm FOC here, you know. We don't possess a bank account, we don't wear ornaments, we don't have our own possessions. This is the same type of clothes that you've been wearing. So selfless service by Pramukh Swami Maharaj and the organization and Rotary and many organizations upon this earth, any selfless service has passed the 4-way test. Any act done in the spirit to excel human excellence has naturally passed the four-way test. As simple as that. As straight as that. So that is a parameter. And if I say, again I repeat, if you are wedded to truth and have a selfless zeal to work, creating goodwills, creating better friendships, benefiting to the society and all, second one, that is it fair to all? Nothing will stop you. This is now phase 2 of my talk. If you go through the four-way test for every work, all the resources of the world will come to you to help you, because ethics has power. There will be no hurdles. If you abide by this four-way test, your projects will not stop because of lack of human resources or financial resources. I guarantee and challenge. If you agree with me, raise your hands.
God will give you.
It gives. It gives. We have thousands of experiences because we work at the state, national, or international level in huge projects. Rotary works in huge projects at international level. You know, we are the same type of organizations. Has any project of your organization, Rotary, was curtailed or dropped because of lack of human resources or financial resources ever? You have it in abundance? Give me yes to this word. You have it in abundance?
On individual level, yes, why not Rotary?
Of course. Individual level, they come together to make a collective level. So you have it on the collective level. That is secretly the power of this four-way test. And the other side of the coin, you put aside this four-way test and all projects will be jeopardized. All projects will be jeopardized. The moment people will come to know that the first test is not being followed, then people will stop giving you donations. Yes or no, tell me. So let's put business or social life aside. Let's talk of just the selfless service world where this four-way test is at most important. With it, you will be empowered by human resources and financial resources. Naturally, the resources will come to you. You will attract these resources. Because a pure heart has the power to do this. Second thing, none of your projects will stop. This is a fact. Third phase of this four-way test explanation is that if you are wedded to this four-way test, you will become so much pure from within, fearless to do any act upon this earth, because it is a selfless act. You will never shake, you will never fear, you will never shiver. Because you can put your hand on your chest and say, I've done nothing wrong. If you can put your hand on your chest and say, I'm right and I'm clear in my conscience, simple. You will be a one-man Rotary. You will be a one-man institution. Pramukh Swami Maharaj is just 5th standard pass. That too from a very ordinary village school. But because he has ethics and truth in his heart, in his every act, thought and deed, that is four-way test passed with 200%. Can you imagine a 5th standard pass person single-handedly developing an institution of the class of Rotary? You go on the website and see, baps.org. Why? This is one campus chamber bhavan that we are sitting. Can you imagine of an organization in 45 years can create 1,300 such campuses and successfully administrating and managing it? Beyond imagination, isn't it? Pramukh Swami Maharaj has done it. Why? Wedded to truth. And if you make a mistake in this truth, it can come out in your life 20 years hence, 40 years hence, and can create a problem then. Create a problem then. Many years back, if you know the name, Gary Hart was a sure candidate from the Democrat side. How many of you have heard his name?
Donna Rice.
The lady was Donna Rice. Okay. Gary Hart, in the pre-poll survey, definitely was going to become the President of the United States. A landslide victory was projected for him. And a very, very powerful politician. Bang on for all his campaign. And somebody brought out a story that during his college days, he had smoked cocaine and he had visited a prostitute. And the photo of that lady was printed. And Gary Hart, from next day morning, this was about 25 years back, he was contesting Ronald Reagan. Do you remember? He was contesting Ronald Reagan in the early 80s. From next day morning till this 2016, May 28, 7 p.m., nobody has heard of Gary Hart again. So if you fail a four-way test somewhere in your life, it can create an obstacle 20 years hence also. If at all you aspire to be a good citizen and a selfless servant of the society, well, if you are confined between the four walls of your house, nothing stops you from doing anything. This is the eternal truth. Never deviate from the truth. A principle-based life is a life lived. An entertainment-based life is not a life lived. Putting aside principles, anything you do is circus. Putting aside principles, anything you do is circus. Is not even work, forget service. Is not even work, forget service. Is a circus. But if you are wedded to this, you are a one-man institute. Ravi Shankar Maharaj, how many of you have heard his name? He was a great social worker of Gujarat. He decided to bring back the dacoits of Chambal to mainstream society. He would walk barefoot, nothing in his hands, into the Chambal ravines of Madhya Pradesh. People, the villagers, surrounding areas would tell him that this dacoits will kill you. And Ravi Shankar Maharaj used to tell them that I have a pure heart for him. That means this third test, goodwill and friendship. I want to create with him a goodwill and a friendship. And the truth I want to give to him, first test, that is I want to bring them back to mainstream society. That is the truth of living with the mainstream society. He said that converting them back to mainstream society is fair and beneficial to all concerned. Second and the fourth test. Yes or no? He would go to the ravines of the Chambal. The dacoits would be sitting there and they would ask, why a man is coming here? He would walk fearlessly to them. First, get hold of the gun in his hands, very politely pull the gun away from his head, put it on the ground and say, now look towards me, I want to talk to you. And Ravi Shankar Maharaj has been credited for converting, for rather bringing more than 150 dreaded dacoits of the Chambal into mainstream society. You become a one-man Rotary, one-man institution if you are wedded to these principles. Ravi Shankar Maharaj became a one-man institute. Phase 4 of this talk. All the good scriptures that teach us this. Bhagavan Swaminarayan has written the Sikshapatri, that whenever you want to do the work of Dharma, do it instantly. That means any selfless service or anything done in the spirit of human excellence or devotion towards God, do it instantly that the thought comes in your mind. Don't wait. Otherwise, I give choices to you to fill in the gap. Otherwise, it will evaporate. Jai Shri Krishna, go on. Again, then, Vice Marshal? It will disappear. That means you do it instantly. That is any work of truth. The scriptures say, do it without thinking. Don't give a second thought to it. Don't allow for a second thought. That is, the scriptures have taught us this truth. This four-way test, well scripted in the different scriptures. And people have lived by it. Once some tourists from Delhi went to Pondicherry to the Arvind ashram. Somebody was showing them the entire ashram. Well, they were all well guided. When they met Maharishi Arvind himself, and Maharishi Arvind asked them, how did you like the ashram? And they said, we went around, but there were some garbage left out somewhere. And Maharishi Arvind asked them, did you come all the way from Delhi to see the garbage? You had come here to visit the ashram, learn something good from the ashram. You have not come all the way from Delhi, spend your time, money and energy to see garbage. Otherwise, you have lots of those in the capital city as well. You don't need to come here. The essence of this incident is, the first and the foremost thing to fail in this four-way test is to see, to think, and to talk the faults and negatives of people. I'm now giving you a red line. In our sampradaya, we call it the abhav and avgun. Never talk, think or see faults or negatives of others. Because now I am coming to a different phase. Now, permutations and combinations in that four-way test. Even if it is the truth, it is failing the other three tests. If I see somebody's fault, if I discuss it, I am wasting my time, my energy, my mind gets polluted. Maybe it is the truth, that person is of that phylum only. But will it create goodwill? Yes or no? Will it create better friendships? No. Will it be fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? So, it is the truth, but it is failing the three tests. So you don't need to do it. Even if it is the truth, don't do it. Now, let me turn the chapter. Permutations and combinations. Sometimes it passes the first and the second, but fails the third and fourth. Do you need to go for it? Other permutations and combinations. If it passes the first and the third, fails second and fourth, then you don't have to go for it. Arjun took the decision of not fighting with his relatives at the other end on the field of Kurukshetra. He put aside his arms and he said, I don't want to fight. And he was in a deep state of sorrow, also frustration, and Arjun was depressed as well. He had passed the first test. It was true, you can't kill your elders and your gurus, Dronacharya and everybody. He had passed the first test. I will put my arms. I don't want to fight and kill them. So he passed the first test. He even passed the third test, that this war would not create goodwill and better friendships. But he was wrong in the second and the fourth. Krishna told him, if you put your arms aside, this will not be fair to all concerned Pandavas. It will not be beneficial to the society at large because the Kauravas don't rule the kingdom rightly. So putting aside arms was your first and third test passed. Second and fourth you are failing, so pick up your arms and fight. So these permutations and combinations also you have to check. If you fail in one, you don't go forward. Or at least try to adjust the one that you are failing. At least bring it to 35 marks out of 100. At least 35 out of 100, so you don't get a 80 KT. What do they call here? In 80 KT, it is allowed to keep the term. ATKT, allowed to keep the term. Even if you fail in a couple of subjects, you are upgraded to the next semester.
Fail but promoted.
Fail but promoted. So even if you fail, so in these permutations and combinations, if you are okay in the three tests and the fourth test you are failing a bit and you need 5 marks grace, people will give you because you have well passed the first three tests. But at least you must come to the passing level in the fourth test. At least 35, so 30 plus 5 with that asterisk sign, condoned, 35, gone up. Experienced or not? No? Okay. What I mean to say is permutations and the combinations in this four-way test has to be well checked. And when they are well checked, you move forward and you enjoy life. And let me tell you an example where people have miserably failed the four tests, yet they've gone ahead with the project. Keeping aside these four tests, they've gone ahead with the project and they've seen the utter failures of life. You can't keep the handkerchief in the pocket of your trousers and start your bowling. Got it? The gentleman used to do that. He used to put the handkerchief. So now it was spot fixing. That whenever he would come for his second spell, he would give an indication to the bookies sitting in the pavilion that in this over I'll give 20 runs in this IPL over. This is the other way of batting. So he would put the handkerchief half out in his pocket, in the pants, in the trousers. And he would walk to the bowling mark. And there he would scratch the ground. So he needed to give enough time to the bookies to call the world over sitting in the pavilions from mobiles and satellite phones. Then he would again check his run-up. And then he would hand something over to the umpire that I'll take it back after the 6 balls. So he would give enough time to the bookies. And then he would bowl. And if in the fifth delivery it was just 15 or 17 runs given, because he would give over-pitch deliveries, full tosses, and then he would bowl the sixth ball a no ball. Anyhow, 20 runs have to be given in this 13th, 15th or the 17th over, when he comes for his second spell of 2 overs. You can't keep the handkerchief in your pocket as a mark of batting and then expect your place in the team and expect your career in the field. Now it's a life ban, isn't it? And even if you contest the elections after that, people still remember that. He contested the elections recently in Kerala and he lost. Even if you have a big party banner behind it, still you can lose. If you fail the four-way test, whoever you are, whatever star you are, you will stand nowhere. I suggest a good book for everybody to read. If you have a piece of paper and pen, write it. And you have nothing of that kind, you can type in your mobiles. The title of the book is How the Mighty Fall. Written by none other than the greatest management guru the planet has ever seen, Jim Collins. He charges $50,000 for 1 hour of talking. And what must he be talking? What you are hearing since last 45 minutes, FOC. Simple, ethics, truths, goodwills, benefits, fairness to everybody. Business, personal life and social life, all three fields. Personal life, social life. Social includes family and friends both, and business life. How the mighty fall. Those people who would put their foot on the ground and the ground would shake. Such powerful people, how did they fall? Those people who would sneeze and Wall Street would catch fever. Those people, how did they come crashing on the ground? Those people who would pick up his phone on the 35th floor of a Manhattan building in New York and topple a government in Africa. Yes, they are these powerful people, and they can. The annual revenue of Apple is $1,400 billion, which is more than the GDP of 170 countries individually. So they can make or upset a government. If some company possesses the revenue which is more than the GDP of your country means, they can put their 2 ministers in every cabinet. Such powerful people, how did they come crashing on the ground? Now they are nowhere, either they are bankrupt or behind bars, or they are lone people in the society, nobody calling on them, nobody talking to them, nobody visiting them. Those people who ruled the markets. Jim Collins has 40 years of experience training executives of MNCs and especially Fortune 500 companies. He writes this 300-page book, every professional must read. I give you the gist in one line. And that doesn't mean that you don't read. And especially during the vacation periods when you have holidays, you have all the time in the world. Jim Collins writes, "These people fell." Now I'm quoting him not just word to word, letter to letter. So remember it properly. He writes in this book, in his own words, as undisciplined pursuit for more. That means failing the four-way test, not considering the four-way test, they wanted to march on. Undisciplined pursuit for more. More means more money or more status or anything more. For that they went for undisciplined pursuit. That means they put aside principles, norms, disciplines, and they didn't live and work within the framework of it. So that, what happened? They came crashing on the ground. So you have to take utmost care of it. Finally, I would conclude. This point was, phase 5 of the talk was, if you put aside the four-way test and if you want to work, if you want to progress, forget. You will never. And the last thing that I want to tell you is, an easy way to just introspect within, not actually every time going through all the words of this four-way test. Any thought, word and deed, ask the question whether I and mine exist or not. If I and mine doesn't exist in it, you have passed the four-way test. Let me increase the 100% of it, 300%. 100, 200, 300. If I and mine doesn't exist, मैं और मेरा, मैं और मेरा, if it doesn't exist in your thought, deed and word, selfless living, then you have passed the four-way test by 300%. How many of you have decided to come in the Rotary with the intention that I would be a humble servant throughout my lifetime, and I give in writing that I don't want a post? That's great. When post comes, you accept it wholeheartedly. Work, when you are the president, as the first servant of Rotary. That is understanding thinking. When it comes, accept it. Don't crave for it. You don't crave for it. That is removing I. My photograph is not printed in the newspaper since last 1 year. My God. That if I remains in the photograph, I was like in the second line. I should have been in the first line. Not during the line of action, during the line of photographs. That is I. And mine is those who voted for me. Those who voted for me are my people, my Rotarians. And those who didn't vote for me, I know them. Remove that mind, because every person sitting here is a Rotarian. As simple as that. You have passed the four-way test if you transcend this, I and mine. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has written the book of his personal spiritual experiences with Pramukh Swami Maharaj. The title of the book is Transcendence. And more than 1 million copies have been sold out so far. It's being translated in more than 6 languages, 7th and 8th coming up, Assamese. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has written this book, Transcendence, My Personal Spiritual Experiences with Pramukh Swami Maharaj, in which he writes that Dr. Brahm Prakash was my teacher, my mentor. He taught me everything about the missile technology. Thereafter, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai was my mentor. He taught me everything about the atomic energy. But Pramukh Swami Maharaj is my ultimate teacher because he taught me how to remove I and my and then work for the society. This is Pramukh Swami Maharaj made Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam pass the four-way test with flying colors. He has accepted this in his book, that Pramukh Swami is my ultimate teacher. That remove I and my, because when Gandhi, Delhi Akshardham you have seen, on 110 acres on the bank of Yamuna, and it's easy to get a plot on Mars than in Delhi. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj is coming up with a huge project on 235 acres of land, Akshardham in America, Robbinsville, that is New Jersey. And he has given the date, the 5th day of Diwali 2020, we will inaugurate the project. He's doing the biggest project of his life sitting in a wheelchair. When Pramukh Swami Maharaj was asked by Dr. Subramaniam, who has performed more than 20,000 open heart surgeries in his lifetime, that which is your next project now, after Delhi Akshardham? And Pramukh Swami said that our basic project is to selflessly serve society and serve God. This was a side product. Can you tell a project of the class of Delhi Akshardham a side project? Difficult. But persons of this class and quality, they can tell that this was my side project. My main project is to serve. If it is done selflessly, in the highest spirits of to excel in human excellence and selfless devotion to God, it is four-way test passed naturally. And he has passed. I conclude with the last example. In 1985, when Pramukh Swami Maharaj was in Mumbai, a cabinet minister and then the member of the planning commission, he came to meet Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and he, with his harshest words, insulted Pramukh Swami Maharaj for 1 hour. Pramukh Swami Maharaj was having 102 degrees temperature at that time. His age was 64. Because he continued to repeat again and again his harsh words. The basic thought that he had in mind is that you are initiating young boys who are engineers, chartered accountants, doctors into sainthood. So someday the society will have a lack of these professionals. Do you think society has lack of this? Hundreds of them are jobless today. And at least after being an engineer, I came and initiated into monkhood. I have a job to do. Just joking, jokes apart, but what I'm talking is, again and again he repeated. One of our eldest saints, Puja Vivek Sagar Swami, was with him. He tried to stop him, he would not. And Pramukh Swami would tell the attendant saint, let him talk. Let him bring out everything that is within him. After 1 hour of harsh insults, Pramukh Swami asked his attendant saint that it's dinner time and take him for dinner. 3 years hence in 1998, Pramukh Swami Maharaj was in Nairobi. That gentleman was no one now. He was not even the cabinet minister. He was not the member of the Planning Commission of India. He had come with his social project to Nairobi, and he found out that there is a huge gathering of more than 10,000 people in Nairobi in the presence of Pramukh Swami Maharaj. So he found out that this is a good ground to introduce his social project and get donations from them. He came to that place and Pramukh Swami saw him from a distance. Pramukh Swami was sitting on the dais in the presence of more than 5 ministers and the president of Kenya. Now see the person who has passed, not just passed the four-way test. He is the embodiment of the four-way test. The behavior of Pramukh Swami Maharaj at that time. Pramukh Swami rose from his seat, walked across the stage, got down from the dais, received him, caught hold of his hand, brought him on the dais, made him sit beside him, understood his project. His wish was, Pramukh Swami himself announces this project of his, himself appeals for the donation. Pramukh Swami Maharaj did that to 10,000 people to help him out in terms of donations for his social project. Can it happen? Let me once get the post. You roll your sleeves. Another sleeve, let me get a chance. The moment you start rolling your sleeves to show, the show word has many meanings, okay? To show, you have failed the four-way test. Because it will not create goodwill and better friendships. It's not beneficial to all. Pramukh Swami did not roll up his sleeves. He forgot that insult. He just had this four-way test. That at present the social project that he has come with, is that the truth, and should I help him? The project is right, it is right. Should I help him? I must help to the maximum extent I can. Even 1 rupee is fine and even 1,000 rupees is fine if you want to help. Okay, whatever you want to give. But Pramukh Swami asked himself, is this the truth that I must help him in this social project? Forgetting that incident, he said yes. Is it fair to all concerned? Yes, the project back in India would be fair to all concerned. Will it create goodwill and better friendships between him and that person? Yes or no? Yes. Tremendous goodwill, tremendous level of friendship. Because he got an introspection that this person whom I insulted to this extent, harsh words inflicted on him, and that Pramukh Swami Maharaj is showering love and selfless help to my project, created a great goodwill. Third test, pass. And the fourth test, is it beneficial to all concerned? The project was beneficial to all the concerned people, to the poor children in the rural areas of the southern part of Gujarat. So Pramukh Swami did not see that incident, forgot that scene. And looking at the four-way test, he helped that person. That is greatness lived. That is greatness personified. And that greatness is your four-way test passed with flying colors. So, all my prayers for all Rotarians, for all the selfless servants of all the organization, that in some or the other way they are wedded to this four-way test in their own ways. They have the description of it in different words in their respected constitutions. But then at the end of the day and the end of your life, anything, any spirit that excels and uplifts human excellence, any selfless service and your profound devotion to God is a four-way test passed. Live with it, live by it, live for it, and you have lived your life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. That was a wonderful and thought-provoking speech. It was really a food for our mind, for all of us after the vada pav and tea which we had for our stomach. We are very proud of you that in a very short time you know the four-way test by heart and giving it an entirely new dimension. You also drilled the four-way test by giving the real life models like Courtney Walsh, Abraham Lincoln, and our own Abdul Kalamji. Thank God our governor did not have any challenge in his nomination as a district governor, and the four-way test was established. Once again, a wonderful and thought-provoking speech. Thank you so much, Swamiji.